Development for the B-21 Raider originally started in 2004, when the U.S. Air Force initiated the Next Generation Bomber program. Although it was canceled in 2009 after expenditures of $1.4 billion, the service spearheaded a new long-range strike bomber LRSB program in 2011.
This isn't just another aircraft. This isn't just another acquisition. This embodies America's resolve to defend the republic we love. It's a testament to our strategy of deterrence,
said Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin III. The new B-21 bombers are designed to fly thousands of miles, stealthily penetrate enemy air defenses, drop multiple tons of bombs on targets, and pave the way for American and Allied armed forces. Currently, only the B-2 is capable of this, and the U.S. only has a few such bombers. The Air Force is likely to purchase over 100 of these stealth bombers, which are capable of carrying out nuclear strikes worldwide. The B-21 Raider, which is currently in the prototype testing phase, will likely replace many aging bombers in the U.S. Air Force fleet, such as the B-52 Stratofortress, B-1B Lancer, and B-2 Spirit. With an anticipated cost of less than $550 million per Raider aircraft, it will cost slightly more than a quarter of the price of a single B-2 aircraft priced at $2.1 billion. This, combined with expected low maintenance and operation costs, will enable it to be deployed in many countries. Even with top-tier next-generation capabilities, the B-21 is potentially very vulnerable in long-range missions, where it may be required to penetrate well-defended enemy airspace. This brings about the need for a high-endurance air superiority fighter to provide protection. The air defenses of China, Russia, and to a lesser but still significant degree North Korea may pose a serious threat to these bombers with platforms such as the S-400 and S-300 V4, as well as the upcoming S-500 and HQ-9C, equipped with powerful sensors and modern low-visibility countermeasures capabilities, and able to deploy high-end, long-range surface-to-air hypersonic missiles such as the 40N6, which can exceed speeds of 10 Mach. They are complemented by a particularly serious threat to relatively slow, heavy, and non-maneuverable aircraft like bombers, future air dominance fighters and interceptors, such as the Russian Su-35 and MiG-31 BSM. It's expected that by the time the B-21 is deployed, they will face a large number of fifth-generation fighters, such as the Chinese J-20 and Russian Su-57, as well as advanced hypersonic air-to-air missiles like the PL-21 and R-37M, which are specifically designed to destroy heavy aircraft at great distances.
The future bomber forces of the United States could give the Pentagon the ability to simultaneously deter conflicts with peer adversaries in two geographically disparate theaters of operations,
said Mark Gunzinger, Director of Future Concepts and Capability Assessments at the Mitchell Institute for Aerospace Studies, AFA. The B-21 represents America's first advanced weapon system in a new Cold War with Russia and China. Strategists in the Pentagon envision the radar-evading B-21 penetrating these countries' air defenses to strike at fortified targets if the escalating military competition with Moscow and Beijing ever turns hot. China intends to have 1,500 nuclear warheads by 2035, and its advances in hypersonics, cyber warfare, and space capabilities represent the most significant and systemic challenge to U.S. national security and the free and open international system. At stake here is not just money. The success or failure of the B-21 program could determine whether the U.S. retains its advantage in long-range bombers over its global competitors or burdens taxpayers with interest payments for yet another golden budgetary loser for years to come. The B-21 is being developed with a view to attacks on the far west of China, where a large portion of the strategic arsenal of the People's Liberation Army is based. China's air defense network is one of the most advanced in the world and continues to be replenished with new technologies, from new 5th and 6th generation fighters to new types of air-to-air missiles, such as the PL-15 and PL-21, which uniquely utilize active electronically scanned array radars for guidance. China is also considered a leading candidate for the Russian long-range S-500 air defense system, which is optimized to neutralize such targets as stealth bombers and has a range of 600 kilometers. If the S-300 PMU and S-400 variants serve as precedents, the S-500S could well be deployed in China before the first B-21 bombers come into operation. Each B-21 bomber begins its life at the north end of Building 401 at Plant 42 as a wedge-shaped granite-colored shell made of lightweight composite materials. It moves south along the line from one workstation to another, transforming into a bomber. Avionics, radars, sensors, bomb bays, windows, and wings. Traditionally, aircraft are built from the inside out. But for stealth aircraft, it's the opposite. Hundreds of thousands of parts are assembled inside the sleek boomerang-shaped shell of the B-21. The goal is to keep the outward appearance of the somber-looking aircraft as smooth as possible to reduce its radar reflection. Stealth characteristics are a defining feature of the B-21. From the outset, Northrop engineers worked on creating an aircraft that can fly undetected through enemy airspace and remain invisible to missiles and fighters. To reduce the infrared and acoustic signatures, the B-21 is designed to fly at subsonic speeds, with engines embedded in the wings, akin to a shark's gills. High-tech coatings are applied to the round body, creating a porous surface that reportedly absorbs radio waves when they hit the aircraft. The B-21 is designed to be even stealthier than the B-2, which, rumor has it, appeared the size of a tennis ball on radar screens, despite having a wingspan comparable to a large passenger plane like the 747. The size, weight, range, and payload capacity of the B-21 remain unknown, but to the trained eye, they appear noticeably smaller than the B-2. However, many technical details of the aircraft will likely remain secret for as long as we all live. The Air Force and Northrop have spent an incalculable fortune to prevent information leaks. Many suppliers still do not know that they are manufacturing parts for the B-21. Northrop's engineers and technicians could not tell family or friends about their work on the program until June, and even then they couldn't reveal details about what they were doing all day. The new B-21 stealth bombers are designed to fly thousands of miles, infiltrate unnoticed through enemy air defenses, drop several tons of bombs on targets, and pave the way for American and Allied armed forces. Currently, only the B-2 can do this, and the U.S. only has a few such aircraft. The United States Air Force announced that Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota will be home to the newest next-generation nuclear bomber. Though this will only happen in a few years, the residents of Mount Rushmore State will likely see the Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider bomber overhead. Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri and Dyess in Texas will also receive the B-21 Raider as aircraft arrive. The Air Force has previously stated that they used a targeted process to minimize impact on mission execution, maximize reuse of facilities, reduce costs, and decrease overhead. Ellsworth Air Force Base currently hosts 2 squadrons of B-1 bombers. The Air Force is gradually retiring the existing B-1 Lancers and B-2 Spirits, as a sufficient number of B-21ES are delivered. According to the Air Force, Barksdale in Louisiana and Minot in North Dakota will continue to host B-52 Stratofortress bombers, which are planned to be used until 2050. As for the Pentagon's F-35 stealth fighters, the existing aircraft can penetrate hostile airspace, but they can only cover a fraction of the distance that the B-21 can and carry a significantly smaller payload. To operate in the Western Pacific region, they need to be based on aircraft carriers or islands relatively close to the coast of East Asia, where they are vulnerable to China's missile force, which consists of more than 2,200 missiles, many capable of hitting moving ships. In contrast, the B-21 can strike from the mainland of North America, or more remote islands like Hawaii or Diego Garcia. This means that even a Pearl Harbor-like first strike on U.S. air bases in East Asia would not hinder America's powerful capability for a counterattack in the early days of a war. The Chinese military understands the benefit of long-range stealth bombers in the Pacific region and is developing its own Raider-like stealth bomber to enhance its strike capabilities. The question hanging over the B-21 is whether Northrop and the Air Force have learned the lessons of the past before embarking on this new, large-scale and strategic venture. If all goes according to plan, aviation giant Northrop Grumman Corp will produce at least 100 B-21 EES for the Air Force in the coming years, at a current cost of $692 million per bomber, a price comparable to that of a skyscraper. While the program has achieved initial milestones, the Pentagon faces significant challenges related to underestimating risks, technical complexity, and costs for launching large programs like the B-21. Nevertheless, The B-21 appears to have a sound concept and has been developed without overspending and relatively minor delays. It seems to be more flexible, upgradable, and economical compared to the aircraft it is replacing. This offers hope not only for this new aircraft, but also for the Pentagon's ability to correct course with other future systems.